I'm Brent Leary.
I'm Paul Greenberg.
I don't know where I am right now. But wait a minute. Did that
Ah,
come out?
but I do. I know where I am, and if it'll help, I know where you are.
If it's Thursday, it must be Stockbridge, Georgia. Okay. So
It
anyway,
is.
we are the CRM Playaz. And I'm trying to make sure I have already blown Stump the Godfather for today, so I don't want to blow anything else. But anyway, we've been bringing the ads since 2009.
We've been bringing the ads since 2009, 2 billion times.
Oh man, that's just wrong. That is hideously wrong, and you will know why in a bit. But we are the CRM players, and hey, I don't like that. I like this one. And once again, what has happened to the moment of Sven here?
I don't know. He seems to have given up on us.
It's like we need to put out an APB, get some milk cartons, and
No, what do they call it in like NCIS? A bolo.
bolo. Be on the lookout.
Yeah, be on the lookout.
Although whenever I hear the word bolo, I think of Enter the Dragon.
Yeah, me too, actually.
Bolo, shah. Okay, yeah. Anyway, it's Thursday. I'm just glad to be here at this point.
Well, welcome back home. You're doing a lot of traveling, though.
I'm not kidding. We just started the show at 3 o'clock Eastern. I walked into my house from Genesis Experience in Denver at 2:15.
Oh my God.
Just 45 minutes. But I'm glad to be here.
Well, I know you're glad to be home. I don't know if you're glad to be on the air
No,
again.
I just said
Again,
I'm glad to be here.
right
Right here.
in the studio.
No, it's that time of the year again. But you know what? I kind of teased you. Actually, I even teased it in a little blurb I wrote up because we're going to talk about conference season. It feels like we should be done with like the whole year of conferences because it feels like I know I've been to a lot of them this year, and we're not even to June. It's like
I know.
crazy.
Well, you've been to I've probably been to maybe half of many as you because I just am not traveling anymore. Well, I'm not. I mean, I am cutting it back.
You're selective.
74 years old. Time to cut back.
Absolutely. Well, just imagine how many of events has somebody like Liz Lim. I was going to say Liz Lemon.
Liz Lemon.
Liz Liz Miller. Excuse me,
Liz Lemon's been to no events at all.
Liz Miller. Remember last year we had her on, and like she had already been to 20 something events.
Yep.
Craziness.
I don't. To be honest, I don't get it.
Hey, it's Shashi. Hello, conference
Shashi,
nation.
okay, Shashi, how many events have you been to this year? Conferences have you
Absolutely.
been
Yeah.
to
Matter
this
of fact,
year?
we can ask anybody out there listening. Hello, anybody? Anyway, to let us know how many conferences you've already been to this year. I'm
I
trying to
really
think
do.
how many. I've probably been to 7 or 8.
I think probably more than that because I think I've been to 4 or 5. What have I been to? I don't remember. I don't care. I honestly, at a certain point, I just don't care. Right.
Well, I know you were with Service Now, and that was a great one for
Well,
us.
yeah. I mean, there's certain things. Okay, Shashi, what's his number?
4.
Okay, I'm probably in your range, Shashi, 4 or 5, right around there. I know, and you've been to at least 3 or 4 more than I have, Brent, and I know you're going to be at least to 1 or 2 more than me.
I'm gonna put this up so that'll let us kind of talk through this a little bit.
Yeah, there we go.
Well, let me do. I don't like that look. I like this look.
Yeah, better still.
All right, so um, all right, so we've both been to Knowledge, right? So that's one.
Right?
I've been to Adobe Summit. That's
Not
2.
me. I didn't even follow him digitally because I
You were
was
on a cruise,
on
right?
a cruise.
All right, so that's 2 for me, 1 for you. Trail. What? How do you pronounce it? Trailblazer DX.
Yeah, that's it. Just
All right,
Trailblazer. Yeah.
that's 3. That's 3
I
for me.
just didn't go to that one.
All right, Creatio. We both went to, so that's
Right?
4. I'm trying to think anything else. All right, so
Yeah.
I also
Well,
went to.
Genesis.
Yeah, just literally just got back from Jen's. So that's
Right.
5 for me. And then of course I didn't put the analyst day stuff. So
Yeah.
there was Oracle Analyst Day
Yeah. I was still on the cruise at that point.
and Zoho Day.
The whole day I was at.
So I think that's 7 for me that I could think of. That I think
Okay.
I don't think I'm missing any.
And that would be four for me then, because there were three of those I didn't go to. I didn't go to Oracle Analyst Day. I didn't go to Adobe Summit. Didn't go to Trailblazer. The ones coming up, which are what? Zoholics in Austin, Outperform.
So that's next week. Outperform is next week.
Right. And
Connections is next week.
right. I'm not going to Connections. You are. We both going to Outperform.
Right. We're both
Then
going
we
to
got
Zoho.
Zoholics in June 4th through 6th. And then we're going through
Pega World.
Pega World, June 9th through 11th.
Right.
So, okay.
That's a lot.
And then I think the next time I go to a conference will be Cloud World and Dreamforce. And that pretty much it for the year, probably. A Variant if I get invited, which
Right.
I'm sure I will be. But Variant would be the other one.
And speaking of which, I can't even go to Variant, the analyst event next week, because exact same time Connections is going on.
Yeah, I'm just not going to either.
Oh, look who's here.
Ben, where the hell, man?
Technical issues.
We
Oh,
were really going to put out
no.
a be on the lookout all points bulletin for you.
I think
Bolo AF.
his dog ate his homework. Is that another possibility? All right, so let's go with the moment of the belated moment is Finn. I know one thing, Brent Leary. I don't know anything else.
Finish.
Is that finish?
That's my guess.
Are you finished?
No. I am done.
All right. Is it all right, Sven? Let us know if
I am Dane. Get it?
Right.
Finish. I am Dane.
I am Dane, like Ron.
Well,
Dane.
I was trying to like stretch done a little bit.
Are you great, Dane?
Dane Cook.
All right, Sven. Let us know what it is and if the Venerable Paul Greenberg is right.
That'll be something Godfather for today, since I know the answer.
I really messed that one up. All right. Well, in the meantime, I do have a backup of sorts, but anyway, so couple of housekeeping. Did I get it right? Is that right? Housekeeping?
You did.
All right. Oh, before we do the housekeeping, it looks like this finish.
Yep.
Oh, wow. Sven is like really digging in on this one. You know, that quote is from something I did for HubSpot like
1986.
That was a long time ago, man.
Wow. Go Sven.
About that. Yeah, Sven
is up in his game a bit there now.
That's really up. Yeah. So basically, I didn't know my own quote, but at least I knew my names because Brent Leary was in there. You can't really, I guess, Brent Leary and finish is Brent Leary, which is
got the language again. That one, if we did Stump the Godfather and Sven tried to trip me up on languages, I'd get it 80% of the time.
Oh, by the way, since we were talking a little bit about the conference stuff.
Yes.
I the folks at Genesis who are just really great to me, and they've been for 7 or 8 years at this point, particularly Rachel Faulkner and Marielle. I don't know if I'm saying it. I think it's Marielle Sinden and Janelle Dickerson, not to be confused with Janelle Deacon. Do you know there's 2 Janelle kind of with a last name that starts with D and their middle names are the same. So there's a Janelle Deacon and there's a Janelle Dickerson, and they both work at Genesis. And the one that I know is Janelle Dickerson.
I think I've met Janelle Dickerson. I've not met Janelle Deacon.
Well, remember, Janelle Deacon was actually on the Playaz once because she worked at the time she was working with Ginger.
That was Ginger's boss. That was Janelle Deacon. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I remember her. I loved her.
Yeah, she was right. Now she's moved into another area. But I was getting confused. I even talked to Janelle Dickerson. I was like, has anybody ever gotten you guys confused before? Because I was like, wait a minute, that doesn't look like the person I thought it was going to be. Anyway, so though Janelle, Marielle, and Rachel are just great to me, and they really took care of me over the last couple of days at Genesis Experience. Got a few good minutes. Got to kind of piece all that stuff together. But in addition to all that, they gave me a bear.
Oh, that's
How
cute.
about that? That's a yeah.
And it's
It's a
got one of the Rams colors,
it does
sort of.
not quite. Maybe
No,
that's no, that's
well, the
brown.
out maybe the outer part of the face, not as it gets closer to the nose, no, but maybe the lighter orange outer part.
It's a nice bear.
Yeah, it's cute.
It is
It-
it's a cute bear. So
It's
I
got a name.
uh Yogi no
I knew you'd say that. Jesus Christ,
and
you're way too predictable on things like that.
and he's made out of recycled materials 100%.
Recycled bear rugs.
Yeah, there it is. So I got a bear.
Hey, Yogi.
All right, some housekeeping. Man, I'm on a roll with that now. So coming up Tuesday, May 28th, I got a chance to spend a few good minutes with Kathy Baxter. Kathy is the principal architect, responsible AI and tech for Salesforce. I am really looking forward. I met her at the Trailhead DX, or I don't know how you did that. We had a really good conversation about that area, and so we're gonna do a LinkedIn live. We're gonna do a few good minutes, and I can't wait for that. And
Okay.
you know what else is coming up that week, and 2 days after that.
Well, actually, there's something coming up a day after that too, but we'll get to that after this.
Our buddy, it's just what it's like. I'm going to go to the Augusta National and say it's a tradition like no other. It's Alan Treffler on the road to Pega World with the Playaz. This
That's
will be
this is what the third or fourth year
I think
straight.
it's fourth.
Yeah, me too. I
I
think
think
this
it's
is year
fourth.
4. So this is, of course, always exciting. Alan's always a great guest. He'll let us know what's up. He will be very opinionated and he's funny.
Yeah,
Uh,
and
now
is he going to be doing? You know how he does that chess where he plays like five people players at a time, and he's just killing them all. Is he going to do that with ping pong? Is that what's going on? Is
I'm
he gonna,
wondering about that. I was literally when I saw the picture, I was kind of wondering about it.
that would
What's
be
he?
cool.
I wonder if he's. We'll have to ask him if he's any good at ping pong. Now, on the day before, I can tell you one and a half things.
One and a half.
Um, well, as you may or may not know, yesterday there was an episode of Talking Headless and of EWPK. Highly recommend you listen in. We had Alan Berkson on talking about, um, well, being the analyst he is on Talking Headless at noon. That's available. The link StreamYard blew me out of LinkedIn for a little while, so you'll find 40 of the 55 minutes on LinkedIn, but with a link to the full thing on the YouTube channel, and shortly on the full network channel. Then last night we had on Engage with Paul and Kenny, Don Zminda, baseball historian. Literally, if you watch Chicago baseball in the 60s, in the 90s, 80s, and 90s, all the stats you heard Harry Carey doing, that was Don. Okay. In the meantime, he's writing a new book on the difficulty of integration, not just in Chicago, in baseball with Ernie Banks and Minnie Minoso, but with integration in the actual city and suburbs itself. That will be coming out. It's already done, but it's coming out in spring of 2025, University of Illinois Press. That was later episodes. So on May 29th, we're getting back on track. You'll see a new format for Talking Headless, and you will see a conversation about a company. You will see a interview with an AR person, and right now that person's been lined up, and it's Sandy Lowe of Zoho. So you're dealing with the best of the best, and then there'll be me and another analyst will be chatting about something, and we'll get to details. And then there will also be that evening. A number of guests are in play right now with Engage with Paul and Kenny, but bookmark the noon on Wednesday, May 29th, and for Talking Headless, and bookmark 7 p.m. May 29th for Engage with Paul and Kenny. Watch the announcements for the guests.
So Sashi, I think has a question for you. How is Headless being? Although you were talking about your show, Headless,
Right. I mean, you know what? let's say this, just from our standpoint as analysts, the term was a very useful marketing device, and it was useful, and it even is useful to a certain degree, meaning, well, you know what it means. But as far as headless technology, it's just become part of the landscape. It's not like it's a giant market unto itself. It's basically being acquired where it's necessary to be acquired to put some things together to make things work. And I don't have like detailed numbers or anything, but I do know the adoption rate is the kind of rate you'll see when something becomes not ubiquitous, but becomes just kind of part of the standard offerings that are out there. So that's all I can tell you about it. I can't
I'll
tell you
just say
much more.
this. I don't, the name is just a bad name. No, that's a bad branding kind of, what is this? Ichabod Crane? I mean, headless is just a awful sounding thing. Never liked it.
Whoa, why did I
Wow,
go?
you're getting
Yeah,
blurry.
that was like all of a sudden. Hold on, I will straighten out. That was kind of weird.
It's like as soon as you started talking about headless, it got blurry.
All right, well, well, at least it makes sense. Well, I will fix that in just. Oh,
All right, so we got a LinkedIn user. You got to let us know who you are. Headless tech is not being you know what? Is headless one of those casualties of Gen AI that once everybody got fixated on that, we just everything else kind of went to the wayside?
basically, listen, I'm going to have to do this manually, unfortunately, because I just converted my iPad. So
No, this is interesting. I should go to like a full screen of you doing this. It gives it like a Doctor Who kind of feel going on here.
hold on a minute.
Oh, that's the irascible one,
Who else would it?
Esteban Kolsky.
This is a little harder than it looks to be.
I feel like I'm watching literally Doctor Who at this point. I should put that ding 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 ding.
You know what? You're going to have to take me off screen while I work on this because I have to get up.
Okay.
All right, I'll come back.
It may be the right name, but it's a terrible name. I'm sorry. Nobody really wants to talk about headless. It sounds so ish. I don't like it. Never liked it. Yeah, we know it's still you.
Put me into the green room for a minute.
Okay, I got you. All right, so the Venerable Paul Greenberg is in the green room at the moment. What is that? Man, that's scary. I was trying to go for the Doctor Who look with Paul reaching into the camera like he was. Yeah, is Paul multitasking, watching me? Yeah, he already says they're up 5-0 or something like that. So maybe that's his reason for going off camera. He wants to see the highlights or something like that. Anyway, Michael, you might have missed the beginning of this. We're asking people how many conferences have you gone to so far this year? We're not even in the June. And it feels like there's been more user conference, tech conference, industry conferences. There have been more at this point in time in the year than even pre-pandemic. I don't remember having this many conferences to go to by barely mid-May. I think I have 7 or 8 conferences already. It's ridiculous. Yeah, that was what I was going for. Reminds me of of a 70s movie, but not the two-headed thing there, Esteban. We already went through that. I did. Okay, so you did miss the beginning. So the beginning is we're asking people because we're going to go over our thoughts around the conferences that we've gone to so far and the ones that are coming up by the end of June. So we're going to be talking a little bit about that. So one of the things we were asking people is just out of curiosity, how many conferences have you attended so far this calendar year? I think I'm at 7 or 8. Paul was at, I think, 4. And we each are going to be going. Well, I'm going to 2 next week. He's going to 1. So I'm going to be literally up to 9. And actually, I'll be up to 11 by the time mid-June rolls around, which is kind of a crazy number because I don't think I ever did 11 conferences by June. Are you ready? Oh, you're still
No, that's okay. Leave it there. Leave it
okay.
there. I can
So we're
now
still
work.
going with this Doctor Who.
Now we'll finish up here. I had to reconnect something, so I'm going to go blurry for a minute or two.
All right. So Esteban is saying he's been to 0 conferences, but we know that's going to change. Wow. You really did get
No,
me
that's
there.
deliberate.
Yeah, no, I mean that was cool effect.
I can
Uh,
do lots more. Woo!
Esteban, that number will be changing because I know you're going somewhere next week. So I'll see you. So be proud of the 0 because it'll be going away next week. Yeah. Oh, just one. Okay. And I have attended 3 and have 2 more before. All right. So you're going to be up to 5 by the end of June. Is that normal? Is that a number that you are typically going to, or does it feel like there's more this year than maybe even previously? Oh, I've been to 4, including the IDC event in San Jose. Okay, yeah, yeah. Do
Well,
you know
that's
the
a
way?
lot.
Do you know the way to San Jose? Yeah. All right. So far, Michael, I think is at 4 or 5. I kind of lost track. You're at 4, but you're gonna jump by the time the end of June rolls around.
Oh yeah. I'll be
You're
at
gonna be
7.
up around 7 or 8, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Esteban is at as 0, going toward 1. Shashi is going on a road trip with his son. That's right. He's going to miss Zoholics for a good
A
reason,
road
though.
trip and an air trip around the world.
Well, yeah, him and his son.
That's amazing.
It's gonna be great.
Holy God.
I think that's a little bit better than going to like a vendor conference.
So we're seeing Esteban at Pros next week.
Right.
Right.
Standard pre-pandemic numbers. Okay, so I'm saying for me at least, it's gone beyond the pre-pandemic numbers for me. I don't recall ever going to 11 conferences by the end of June. That
No,
sounds like a lot.
that is. I mean, even I know at my peak, if I at 8 or 9, that was tons.
I remember, there was one year that I did 2 times. I did this back to back to back weeks to Vegas.
Right.
I did that twice in one year. I remember that, which was ridiculous. I do not ever want to do that again.
And we never want you to do it again.
Dude, it's 2024 and not that hard to fly around the world. Also takes less than 8. All right, Mr.
Yeah, man. I
Irascible.
wasn't commenting on the fact it was around the world. I was commenting on the fact he and his son were going around the world.
I know, Mr.
Jesus
Irascible.
Christ, man.
Don't
Come
you take
on.
Don't you take Thursdays off for irascibility? Is that even a word? I don't know if that's a word or not. I liked it down. It kind of rolled off the tongue, irascibility.
And I don't think Shashi said he was doing it in the hot air balloon either.
And no, and his name ain't Phineas, by the way.
Right, that's right.
Or whatever his name.
Canton Floss is the actor who played. What was the?
Oh my God, what's the guy's name?
What was the name? That was the actor who played the. What was the servant's name? It was Phineas T. Fogg. Was the?
That's the guy.
David. What was his name? The actor.
David. Oh, David Tennant in the
David.
The recent
no, not David Tennant.
No, he did play it on a PBS special last year. He played.
No, but the guy who made it famous wasn't him. It was actor, the suave British guy with.
I know you're talking about. I can see his face.
Yeah, David.
No, it's not David.
Yeah.
No, I know Rex Harrison. All right.
No.
Rex, yeah, he played Phineas Fogg.
No. Well, Jesus. No.
I'm pretty sure.
I'll look it up. I'll look it up while we're communicating about conferences.
And Michael, I'm still kind of smarting because I went to Adobe Summit and I didn't even see it, man. I mean, and I knew you were doing a session. I really wanted to see that, but I missed it. Sorry about that. All right. Well, while you're doing that, so
David Niven.
Oh yeah, David Niven. Okay, yeah,
that was it.
But I think Rex Hamilton or what's Rex Harrison?
Yeah.
He was in that. I think he did something like that too.
He might have. I know it's David Niven played Phineas T. Fogg, and Canton Floss, who was like this world-class Mexican actor, comedian, also played Passepartout.
Passepartout.
That was the servant, the manservant that went with him on the trip.
Okay, so Rex Harrison. Oh, all right. So he is My Fair Lady. He was the Ghost of Mrs. Muir, Anna and the King, Dr. Doolittle. That's
yeah. Now that I remember. Of course, he was great there too.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, now we got it. Okay. Now we're good. Now we're whole once again.
We're cooking with gas.
Yes, we are. And we haven't even started talking about a conference yet. And we're halfway through the show.
And I've already blown. All right. So I got to explain why there will not be a Stump the Godfather. All right,
like a happy hour.
I look. I was tired. I just we just talked about. I just got off a plane and got here just about to do the show, so I was tired. So I made a mistake. I was flipping through some slides before the show with the venerable Paul Greenberg, and yeah, I did it again. I showed him. I showed. I showed him what the yeah.
I saw the answer.
Yeah, he saw the answer. And it was a good one because there's no way he was going to get it.
No,
Because
it's
I
true.
didn't know about it until I literally saw this. It was an ad on the they call it the what do they call that thing at the Atlanta airport? Like the
Uh,
subway, but they call it the
that when you're
yeah.
walking down that
There's the
corridor on the
name.
side, that thing.
No, the little subway,
Oh, I don't know what they
the
call them there.
tram,
Yeah,
but they call it something else.
I
It's
know what you
something.
mean, though.
Yeah. So I saw, I was like, oh, this is going to be great. Took a picture of it, jazz it up, and but you know what? Maybe we can ask these guys. All right, so let's do that.
All right.
So this
I
is
won't answer this. And Michael, I was multitasking. Final score: Yankees 5, Twins nothing.
oh okay. So you
And tonight I'll be watching the Rangers.
wait a minute. Aren't the Knicks playing tonight?
No, tomorrow.
Oh, I hate when
They
they
give
spread
me
it
2
out.
days off this time.
Well, the Knicks could use it, but
Yeah,
I like watching.
they're a good shot of winning if they do have those
Yeah.
2 days off.
All right, so this week's not stump the Godfather because quite honestly, he wouldn't be stumped. He already knows the answer. All right, so I was on. I'm just calling it the subway. I don't know what to call it. Coming home, and this ad appeared on one of the trains. It's a company called IFS, and apparently they're, I don't know if they're the world leading provider of elevator and walkway kind of technology. Seems like there's another company that's really well known for the elevator thing.
Yeah, Otis.
Yeah, no, it's another one. It's like begins with a K. Remember, they're like a Salesforce customer, and they had them.
Oh yeah.
I
Like
can't even
it's sort
remember.
of like Kohler, but it's not Kohler. I know what you mean, though. Yeah.
Right. Oh, look, you got a Knicks fan.
All
Oh,
right, Ian. Yes,
Knicks. I'm rooting for the Knicks, man.
it's
I
hard
want
not
them to
to,
beat.
man.
I want them to beat not only the Pacers, but I want them to beat the Celtics. The
Oh,
Celtics.
I do too. I mean, I want to beat everybody. I want to win the championship. I don't think they necessarily will, but I'll tell you, this team has been the best we've had in years. And Ian, yay! That's all I can say. You and me, pal.
All right. Now, all right. So, and by the way, thank you, Irascible One. Thanks for
As
stopping by.
always, love you.
Yes,
Mwah.
you and your irascibility. Just like saying it now. All right. So Shashi is already, and I think our LinkedIn user. All right. So they've already read. Shashi is saying half the Earth's population. What are we like 8 billion?
Yeah,
So he's saying 4
4
billion
billion.
people use an elevator or walkway maintained by IFS each day. That's a lot. LinkedIn user, which is Nick's will not. Oh wow, he is such a
I thought he left.
hater. No, he's just here to hate a little bit more.
It's all right. He's
but
not
he
even
did.
a basketball fan. Billions is not an answer.
Well, if you're Carl Sagan,
Yeah, okay.
Ian is still stuck on the Knicks, native New Yorker, born in Brooklyn. Ian, take a shot at the question. How many people use elevators and walkways maintained by IFS each day? Let us know about that. We know you're a huge New York sports fan.
Native New York. Go, Ian. Made my
All
day.
right. So LinkedIn user who said he was leaving is still here. 2
Why
billion.
don't you leave before we give the real answer?
All right, Ian is in for 220 million. So we've got half the world's population from Shashi. We've got just 2 billion for the irascible Esteban Kolsky. We have 220 million for Ian. And you know, the venerable Paul Greenberg already knows the answer, so there's no point in even drawing this out. All right, so the answer is, if I can only bring this line up, 2 billion.
Okay.
So somebody did a Google search and found that out. That's what I'm guessing. Now this is just one company. One company is maintaining elevators and walkways that have 2 billion people using it each day. That's an astounding number.
It says LinkedIn user is Bob Fagel.
Oh, it's Bob. Oh, I know.
No, wait, we've had 2 LinkedIn users.
Well, yeah, well, maybe the irascible one did leave,
Yeah,
and
and then
Bob just picked up on it.
that's
Ah,
what
all
it
right.
is.
Shashi, you were 2 billion over, which is not bad.
Well, that
Because
explains why the LinkedIn user said the Knicks won't make it.
oh no, that yeah, Mr. Boston himself.
Hmm.
By the way, Bob, I did get your text, and I was traveling yesterday, or no, I was at a conference all day yesterday, so I didn't get a chance to respond. But I, of course, I know 40. This whole year is part of the 40-year anniversary of Purple Rain. The soundtrack, the movie, the songs. I'm all in, man. I'm all in. Anyway, that's the little snapshot. It's an ad on that railway system in the Atlanta
Wow, it's
airport.
kind of a cool ad. Actually, it looks pretty cool.
Well, I think it was a mirror. I mean, it's window glass behind it, so it looks like that. And there's the escalator.
They kind of also notice what it says there: serviced with IFS.AI.
I know. I didn't want. Everybody's got the
Yeah.
AI.
And the other thing, though, I wonder if that the black frame there is designed to look kind of like iPhone-ish to make everything look like a iPhone.
Wow.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
look at this. Look at the way it's sized and everything. I'm
Yeah.
wondering if it's deliberately
Could be.
part of the ad to give it that kind of cool
You
vibe.
will.
Apple,
We'll try to find the IFS design team and see if they can
and also their ad agency.
in their adage. Yeah, everybody's now a .ai. Uh, yeah, yeah. So Bob, by the way, I want the Knicks to beat the Celtics. The
Yeah,
Celtics should absolutely win, but there's something about that Celtics team. Yeah, they play down to their competition.
amen.
So
I look, I don't, to be honest, I don't hate the Celtics particularly. The only team that really ultimately irritated me was the 76ers, and that was only because
those
of
are my teams.
Joel Embiid. Other than that, I would have kind of liked them, right?
Oh,
But he is such a dick that I did not have any interest in. I mean, the guy is dirty. He's a whining baby. He's like everything bad about basketball. Where guys like Tyrese Maxey on the same damn team is more like the good side of basketball.
Tyrese Maxey is my guy. I
I
love
really
watching
like
him
him.
play.
I really, really like. He's a great guy.
All right, fun fact. Ian is coming with fun facts. All right.
Okay, Ian.
First escalator was installed at the Old Iron Pier at Coney Island in New York City on January 16th, 1893.
Wow.
Elevated passengers on a conveyor belt at a 25-degree angle and traveled only 7 feet. That's really nice.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Thanks. Ian is coming with facts, man. I
This
like that.
is cool.
Oh, by the way, Ian, let us know how many conferences you've already been to so far this year. We're trying to keep count of that kind of stuff. Bob is talking about, are you going to join Vala in the? Yeah, did you see that the Disrupt TV guys,
Yeah, I love that.
AK Vala Offshore, and of course the uh, what is omnipresent? Is that the word for Ray?
Yeah,
Omnipresent.
omnipresent works.
Omnipresent.
I don't want to give him omniscience. That's a little too much.
No,
That gives him a little
no.
too godlike a stats. But omnipresent
Or
works.
omnipotent. Just go with
Yeah,
omnipresent.
omnipresence, good one.
Yeah. Ray wrong. They are doing a really cool. Now that's actually they're going to be at one of those sports venues, right?
I think.
In Boston.
Yeah,
I
I
think
think so.
so.
I know Brian Shields, the only guy on that group I know. Brian's the guy who runs IT for the Red Sox. He's a cool guy. I have to say, he's a cool guy.
So that he and this is goes back to Vala's days before he was at Salesforce. What was that company again that he was at? Uh,
Who?
Vala.
What do you call it? Antiresis was it?
And
No,
yeah, something Enteresis or
no,
something like
no.
that.
Was it that?
It
No.
was something like that.
Yeah, I'm blocking it. I know it's with an E. Hold
But
on
he
a minute.
built all these great relationships with all the sports franchises in the Boston area because they
Ex-
managed the tech for all those guys,
Except the Red Sox.
except for okay. But
The
now
Red,
he's
I introduced him to the Red Sox.
oh okay. But anyway, I think it's is it
Extreme. It was Antiresis and then Extreme. Yeah, both.
okay. So I don't know exact. Do you know the exact day of that? because that's
No,
gonna be
I
cool.
think it's their, but I think it's their next episode, which could be today, could be tomorrow. Yeah, Vala before Extreme was in Terraces.
It's either tomorrow or next week. I think it
Yeah,
might be next week. They're
all
they're
I
gathering the CIOs of the 4 sports franchises.
yep.
That's gonna be a cool conversation.
I think he had 5 on there, didn't he?
Maybe. Well, I
I
just know
think they
that.
might have had the MLS franchise, possibly
Oh, maybe. I don't know.
WNBA. I don't know. That's some other league,
I better not
something,
laugh. I almost laughed.
some other league.
Yeah. Anyway, that ought to be a cool one. That ought to be a really interesting one.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that one. I'm going to watch. Well, I have some other things we can talk about some other time on sports, but we'll do that later.
All right, I got one more since I completely butchered Stump the Godfather this week. I got a substitute Stump the Godfather.
Okay.
I kind of started this on Facebook because a Facebook memory came up about something that took place 7 years ago.
Yeah, don't ask it. I saw the memory.
I know, but I didn't say how many of these things I'm still using. So I get to do this. So this was
That
a
was your.
Facebook memory.
I thought that was hilarious.
7 years ago. I uploaded a photo, and this is in one of my rooms, and this was my tech playroom at the time. And I think the thing on the left is that Microsoft Surface Studio thing.
Yeah, you with the thing that had. Yeah, there. You know why? There's the puck. Look in the lower right.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
There's the puck. So that's
that
it.
was,
That was that.
so that was my Microsoft Surface Studio. That I must have been kind of brand new because I don't think I had it that long.
No, that was I know that you were one of the early adopters of that thing.
Oh, by the way, Bob is saying it's 2 weeks from tomorrow.
Oh,
May
okay.
31st, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Excuse me, 11 p.m. to noon. PD time, Pacific Daylight Time. So mark your calendars for that.
Absolutely.
All right, so that's my Surface Studio. That iPad is looking like, well, if it's 7 years ago, that's an old iPad. I don't even remember what version.
Well, look, you can tell though. Look, it's probably either first or second generation. Because look at the frame.
Yeah.
The bezel is it's thick as hell.
It's half the screen almost. That monitor is it's a 32-inch monitor.
So look, this is the iPad M4.
That's the one you just got.
Yeah, this is new. It's already. That's why I had to go pair it. That's why I had to go to the thing. So this is literally from. I got it yesterday. It's my mic's in the way.
Oh, that is really thin, by the way.
Yeah, well, it weighs less than a pound.
Yeah,
it's actually outweighed by the keyboard.
That's pretty crazy. Speaking of so I got 3 keyboards on that thing.
I was trying to figure out what I saw that this morning. What were you using them for? Why 3?
Well, the one on the far right, that's for the TriCaster. Remember the TriCaster?
Oh yeah, I didn't realize they had their own keyboard.
It had its own keyboard, and then right beneath or behind the keyboard is the control surface for that thing. That control surface alone cost me $2,500.
Yep. So you have a $10,000 TriCaster, a $2,500 control surface, and the keyboard. I hope comes with the.
That came with the TriCaster. Right, the Microsoft Surface Studio was like $4,500. This is 7 years ago. So $10,000 for the TriCaster. Maybe the Godfather question: how much did I actually spend on all this nonsense?
Yeah.
So the TriCaster,
$2 billion.
The TriCaster was $7,500. The control surface was another $2,000 or $2,500. The Microsoft Surface Studio was $4,500. And then you look at the little interface, that little box-like interface, that the UA. That was another $800 for the audio interface. Yeah, that's one of those Universal Arts.
Oh, yeah, that was a good one. It's still good. They're still a really good brand.
Still really good. So
Universal Audio, right?
Yeah, Universal Audio.
Yeah.
That's $800. that monitor, because oh, by the way, the monitor with the TriCaster that did not come with the TriCaster. So that's an old 27-inch monitor I had even before. So
Thank God.
I
You would
was
have to
able to
pay another
reuse that.
$4,000 for something.
Yeah, and then that 32-inch monitor, I think that was at the time pretty expensive at the time. I'm thinking that was at least $500 or $600 at the time. And then the iPad, I forget what that iPad anyway, and all the keyboards. So out of all the stuff you see on that table, including the table, how many of those things do I still actually use? If anybody knows, wants to take a guess on
Are
that.
you, when you say those things, do you mean class of things or those actual items?
Actual items.
Okay, the reason I say, yeah, right. In Commodore 64. Where is it? There it is.
Uh,
The reason I asked that is because I know you still use an iPad, but you don't use that iPad.
you know what? I still have it around because I'll be brutally honest. I don't sell a lot of my stuff, so I'm pretty confident I have every last piece of thing that's on that table.
You
But
still actually in the house?
still, I'm pretty sure it's still in the house.
You don't use any of it, but you still have it.
Zero minus the table, maybe the monitor. I think you commented that you thought I'd still have the table. I think
Yeah.
I still use the table. All
Yeah.
right. Shashi is saying I got a CD player yesterday, and I was feeling good. But Shashi says I use all of it. All right. So we run the spectrum from zero to the table to everything. So the honest answer, and I'll just say even over the last year or so or beyond, I have not used any of that stuff.
Yeah,
I'm
that's my thought too. I maybe the table would have been the only guess, but
not
beyond
even
that,
the table.
nothing.
Yeah, it's
Nothing.
but as I was adding up, yeah, that's like $20,000 on that table.
I know. And you know what? The audio interface there is probably still good.
You know
It's
why
not
it's not?
as good, but why?
Because it's a
Oh,
firewire interface.
oh my God. Yeah, no good.
Firewire, folks.
Firewire. I
Uh,
remember that. I had a mixer from Mackie that was Firewire.
so yeah,
No,
all I mean, just it's funny and I can laugh about it, but that's a lot of money, man.
you're not kidding. Well, given how much we now spend, that's
Yeah.
let's say that's a lot of sunk cost right now.
Well,
Right.
that was sunk before we even started the
I
PPM.
know, we weren't even close at that time. You just, well, yeah, I always thought what you were doing was really cool when you bought the TriCaster and you told me about it, and it was an amazing device for its time.
And you know who I blame that
Yeah.
purchase
Oh,
on?
I absolutely know who you blame.
Venerable Steve Gilmore
And what
started me
was
on
your name? What did you call the TriCaster? What you used to call
the
it?
trickster.
The Trickster,
Yeah.
which is basically it tricked me out of my money.
Tricked me out of about 12 grand. Jesus. You know, I should have a lot more money than I do when you think about this.
Well, just invest. Well, you know what? Hopefully, your Nvidia stock just keeps.
Yeah,
It'll
you keep
make
track
it'll
of the
make up.
Yankees. You
It'll
keep
keep
track of the
making up
Yankees. I'll keep track of Nvidia.
Nvidia stock.
Let's see. Will this make up? Let's see what kind of day we had for Nvidia. Wow, it's up 40 cents today.
Look, the fact that it's up, it keeps. I know it had a decline for a little while, but
It's
now it's
near
starting
its
to climb
all-time
again.
high
Yep,
again.
it's
Yeah.
starting to climb again.
I'd say,
Yeah,
ironically, your phone probably has more power. No doubt. I'm
yeah.
sure it does.
Oh yeah. Listen,
Yeah.
one of the new things with the iPad, which they've also up, it's not out yet, but very shortly, within a week or two, they're going to release Final Cut Pro for the iPad 2.
That's gonna
And
be
on
dope.
there, you'll be able, with your iPhones, and you can have 4 iPhones, let's say, working simultaneously, wirelessly, and do multi-camera streaming,
Nice.
and no wires whatsoever with the iPad and Final Cut Pro 2.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's kind of like what's it called, Switch Studio or something
Oh,
like that?
Switcher Studio. Yeah.
Switch Studio, but kind of much more integrated with the iPad itself.
That's cool. By the way, anybody out there besides Paul is going to get that new iPad, let us know. I'm
I'm already
thinking
super
about it.
happy with it.
Yeah, I'm you know that I'm you said something that you if you didn't get a certain level, you don't get like
Oh, yeah. Well, okay. So here's the deal. There's two versions of the iPad. Basically, there's the 256 and 512 gigabyte version, and then the 1 and 2 terabyte versions. Um, when you get to 1 and 2 terabytes, you get 8 gigs more RAM. So it's 8 and 16. You get, of course, more storage. You also get the opportunity to spend another $100 for nano glass instead of standard glass, which is, when you look at the actual comparison, almost meaningless. And you get one extra CPU core on the 10 on the the bigger model, 9 on the other one. That said, I highly, if you do that, um, I highly recommend that you watch a video, which I will send you, of someone who did benchmarks. Bye, Michael. See you soon. Go Yankees. Um, did the benchmarks of the 9 core and the 10 core. And let's say this: the minimum of $400 to $500, $600, what he said, extra you end up spending is definitely not worth it. I mean, there's only one out of about 30 benchmarks that he runs that there's more than like a 3% difference.
wow.
Yeah. And the one that he runs is not a very meaningful benchmark, the one that is. So it's well, this thing though, I've already seen it in action really fast. And it's also super smooth, and the OLED screen is beautiful. I mean, it's pricey, but I'll write it off for the 56 group. So
Hey Bob, are you going to Connections next week? I know you guys are a huge Salesforce partner. Are you going to let us know? Let me know because I'll be there. You know who else is going to be there? Ginger Conlon is actually going to be at Connections as well.
what is a spy?
Well, no, they got a partnership. Genesis has and they talked about that partnership on the keynote stage as well. And maybe since we were supposed to talk about conferences, we
Yeah,
got
we're
kind of
really.
carried away. Why don't we do this? Why don't we just take the last couple minutes to just chat? Because remember last week we said, you missed doing your conference grading report
Yeah.
and all that kind of stuff. Maybe we just do an informal kind of thing for the time being. And since you've been to 4, I've been to a little bit more than that. We've been to a lot combined. Um, is there any conference that stands out for any particular reason for you?
Um. Yeah. Well, I'd say more different conferences for different reasons.
Mhm.
From the standpoint of just treating people well, uh, there's no question that Zoho's analyst summit in McAllen was not, it wasn't even close as far as that goes. I mean, they went all out. They had a world-class chef taking care of our every hungry need we had. They had the environment that the locations were beautiful. The availability of the senior team at Zoho was off the charts. Like, for example, and it's not a negative really for anyone else, but there's no place that I go to normally, and then I'm curious of what you think. There's no place where I go to normally where the CEO of the company spends the entire time
Yeah.
with you for days,
Nowhere.
and it's always available. And for example, Vijay who's a chief strategy officer for the company. Vijay was out, like, you would walk over to the conference center from the hotel at 8 in the morning, and he's already outside talking to people at 8 in the morning, and he never stops with a big smile on his face all the time. This team is just, between Raju and Vijay and Sridhar, the most open, accessible management team I've ever seen, and available, and they're willing to talk to the truth, and they're also willing to, they don't cover things up, and they're not spinning stuff, and they're willing to stand on their own principles even if you disagree, right? So all in all, to me, that was the best singular personal experience. What about, now there was a second one, but what did you think?
Well, first off, you're no, I totally agree in terms of there's no other CEO that does that. At least that of any of the events that I've gone to, is spending that much time, not just with analysts, but just with the people around, that whole event, and happy to be there. I mean,
Yeah.
and really looking forward to the interactions, not just looking
I
for praise or that kind of thing. It is. Oh, I didn't see it. Thanks, Ian,
Ian,
for dropping the fun fact too.
I'm going to drop you a line, Ian.
You could just hand it to him.
Whose line is it anyway?
Oh God. But no, I mean, that totally agree with you. So I'm gonna do some different stuff. Um, I think at Creatio, the venue,
Yeah,
the
easy.
room, it was really great. Really enjoyed it. And I'll also say this: food.
Yeah.
That's my kind of food. The stuff that, I know it's not. Some people might not appreciate, kind of the regular food approach, but I love going to an event, a vendor event, and being able to get like burgers and hot dogs and
And they were
pretzels
high quality
and
stuff.
then high quality mac and cheese. I mean, look, that's for me. I'm sorry. I know other people might not have enjoyed it as much as kind of the fancier eating kind of thing. I love
Pretzels. Don't forget
pretzel,
pretzels.
soft pretzel. So I like that. Service Now last week, although it was in Vegas, they treated us so great in terms of doing the player shows, and we got to speak to five great guests. Um, some that we, of course, we know a lot about and interact with a lot over the years, um, but also some newer folks for me, and they were all great. From Nick taking a picture of me when I'm getting makeup put on me, Nick Zitzen, who's the chief strategy and compliance officer, our buddy, old friend, Brian Solis, and another old friend, Terrence Tresseret. These are all C level, VP level folks that are busy because that they had 20,000 people at this conference.
Right.
But they made sure that they gave us all the time we needed in the setup. We had a great camera crew. I mean, these folks are like they do like commercial, shoots and things like that, and they gave us that kind of opportunity to host the players in that kind of environment, in that setting with those kind of people as a part of it. I really thought that was great.
And I agree with you. And I agree with you on all fronts. And obviously uh, I actually don't know how to pronounce her name properly, the last name, but a shout out to Kate over at Creatio. She's a
Yes,
brand new AR person. I mean, she's brand
yes,
new. She's never done it before, and she is operationally so she does it so well, and she's so attentive, and she makes sure you get what you need, and she does it with all the analysts, and she's careful, and she's a good person. She came from Poland for the
yeah,
event, and on the event itself, the other thing that's interesting from an analyst standpoint with Creatio was um, that they are, I guess the best way to put this is they're doubling down on on no code, and they're really doubling down. Now
and
that
they
said,
and they should, because they
yeah,
were talking about it before a lot of these vendors
yeah,
were.
oh yeah. I mean, their target audience has always been aimed at the technology leaders on at a company, whoever they may be, and they've been very successful. They're in, I was talking with Sean Cantwell, who's one of the partners who of Volition Group, who are the ones who invested in them.
Yep.
Who, by the way, we're going to have on the show at some point soon. I can
Yep.
promise you that. I love this guy. I mean, he's not only super savvy about our universe, but he's a great guy, a great sense of humor, understands his world really well, and understands our world really well. That aside, these guys are a very well managed company. Creation is extremely well managed. There's some things they need to do still because they're kind of moving up market into the enterprise and they want to go there. They got a ways to go for that yet. But that said, they play really well. They have one of the best. They certainly have the most beautiful UI UX of anyone's in the industry, bar none, any level whatsoever. Technically, they are one of the tightest and well integrated systems and platforms I've ever seen. Um, and they can scale. They've got some corporate readiness stuff to do to become enterprise ready, which they're not at. They're not there yet. But with the rest of this stuff, they're ready to go. And they're just really a good company. When Brent and I and others were doing CRM Idol, they were the very first winners back in the day in 2011. On ServiceNow side, they did nothing to disprove my contention that they're the world's largest unicorn. They are amazing what they've done. So if you remember about, I want to say it was 3 years ago, maybe, they were messaging with the platform of platforms, which sounds absurd at a certain level, right? That we're the company, we're a company, we started with ITSM, we've now got customer workflows. Well, we're going to be the platform of platforms. It sounds absurd. However, even when that was kind of an analyst vision that they were presenting, I talked to roughly a dozen over time analysts and asked them, do you think ServiceNow could pull that off? And out of the ones I talked to, 11 out of 12 said yes. Okay, now they thankfully dropped the messaging. But here's the deal. Bill McDermott, in the discussions we saw, were pointing to the end-to-end nature of what they're doing. And then when you watched what they were doing, when you literally saw it demonstrated, it was already released stuff, and you also saw it demonstrated at the systemic level and at the level of demos and things like that. They're actually putting the pieces in place to be the platform of platforms. And it's actually like, I don't want to say it's fully come to fruition, but it's coming. They've gone a long way there. And all they do is constantly get better and better and better, right? And they got the partnerships, which maybe you'll want to go into a bit, that they've established. And also, look, honestly, from an AR standpoint, they have a great team. I mean, the people who attended to us were Jeff McDonald, Christine Randall, at least Houchin kind of runs the overall thing. And they're wonderful. And they really, really wanted to make sure that we got what we needed. They were always there to take care of us with a big smile on their faces. And, we've known these guys for a long time, and they're a premier team. They really are. They're just like one of the best teams in the industry. So I thought, if I'm looking at the conference results, I don't know that even I can't speak to what's going to happen at Cloud World or at Dreamforce yet. It's going to be hard to kind of beat the potential that came out of ServiceNow. It's going to be hard.
I'll talk about that in a second, but I want to go back to Create Show and
Okay.
say that we have Kate set up some really great people to join us for some more CRM Playaz episodes. Who we knew, Andy Zambito, and both Andys actually, Andy Dobkin.
Yeah.
And somebody I don't think either of us knew previously, Jason Olkowski, who's their chief customer officer. Great conversations with them as well. And we'll be posting them at some point as in addition. One kind of a little ding. One of the keynote sessions kind of went off the rails a little bit. Yeah. I'm hoping that I think everybody knows what we're talking about, who was there. And let's hope that doesn't happen again. That's the only blemish.
I'm fairly sure it won't happen again.
I know some people were not happy about how it turned out. Anyway,
well, including us.
Well, yeah, but some people who are even more affected by the situation.
I know.
But anyway, hopefully that will get taken care of. Now going back to ServiceNow, you said it. Platforms. Part of the equation for that is partnerships, because not every enterprise company is going to depend on one vendor for everything. And ServiceNow definitely understands that. And I think there were two partnerships that got all the attention, or most of the attention, but it covered up one that really should have got more attention than it probably did. Now, kind of hard to get a lot of breathing room when Jensen Wong is on stage at the ServiceNow keynote, and they're talking about their partnership, which is a huge one. And the one fact that really just stood out to me was when Jensen said that ServiceNow was like the first enterprise software company that really got Gen AI and to the point where they wanted to be able to do all the have everything kind of under their umbrella. So having a partnership with NVIDIA to provide the hardware to actually run your models on and take and crunch all that data. ServiceNow kind of jumped the line and said, NVIDIA, we want to be able to do our own. We want to partner with you to do it. Of course, that got a lot of attention. The other thing that got a lot of attention, he wasn't there physically, but is like he beamed in
Yeah.
Satya Nadella from Microsoft to talk about, the integration of Now Assist, which is the ServiceNow's generative AI assistant, to Microsoft Copilot, which is it ubiquitous? what's the word? Because that
That's
everybody's announcing, yeah, everybody's announcing partnerships with that. But ServiceNow, when you think about the partnership with NVIDIA to be able to do all their own AI stuff in-house, basically, and then connecting their Now assistant with Microsoft Copilot, those are huge developments. But I think one of the ones that might even be as big, but maybe not as gets as much attention, is the thing they announced with Genesis, where they call it Unified Experience with Genesis and ServiceNow, where they're connecting basically like they want to say the front, mid, and back offices by connecting these two up. And it's in the Genesis at their event announced their what do they call it? I think they went with Copilot,
yeah.
and of course now Assist from ServiceNow. So they're connecting to be able to take all that contact center stuff and connect it to front and back, front and middle offices to have the data flowing in between and be able to kind of juice up the workflow automation that ServiceNow is really good at. And remember, we talked to Terrence Chesseret during our CRM Playaz with him, and he was really excited about it because that's his area.
Yep.
And it was pretty cool to go from ServiceNow and talk to not only Terrence, but I had a chance to talk to Jack Nichols, who's a VP of product management for Genesis at Knowledge, to kind of hear his take on it. But then very next week here at Genesis and Genesis Experience, John Ball was part of the keynote for the Genesis part, and I had an opportunity to get Jack Nichols and Ian Henderson, who is he works with Terrence, to
Yep.
get a little bit more deeper dive. And there's a lot of really interesting connections going on with what Genesis is doing and what ServiceNow is doing, and what the potential of working together does. From I think Genesis, the CEO Tony Bates called it going from a world that is contact center as a service to going to a world that is universal orchestration. And part of that equation, part of that move, is these partnerships that connect these different pieces to the pie. Because once again, one company can't do it all, and so ServiceNow is really smart about their partnerships, and not just at the huge NVIDIA Microsoft level, but at these functional levels, like where contact centers, workforce management, and all these things in the workflow that can take place, that goes from system to system, from one end or the other. I think that is going to be as big as some of these major kind of partnerships are.
And I'll say one last sort of footnote thing to all of this. ServiceNow at this point, and this is really amazing, is such a hot company that Bill McDermott mentioned that I can't remember if it was 2,000 or 5,000 jobs that they had available,
Yeah.
but they had 3 million applicants, right?
Yeah.
For either 2 or 5. I mean, it doesn't even matter, 2 to 5,000 at that point when you have 3 million applicants. So that's how hot the company is. And you know what? Rightfully so.
Yeah. So that was a lot of what we've seen. Any thoughts on what's coming up? Because we got pros, and then I go from pros to connections. We're not even having opportunity to see Variant And then I think Zoholics is next, and then after that is Pega World. What do you want to see? What do you want to have happen?
Well, again, like we're gonna we know this. We're gonna see AI, right? One way or the other, we're gonna see
Alan
it,
Iverson is going to be
right?
there.
He is gonna. Well, he doesn't no longer at the stadium, so the arena. So we're gonna see it. The only place I'm going to be genuinely interested in it will be Zoho, and the reason for that is because of the way that they are viewing it, which is multiple model types, and everyone else is still, even when they the one place where ServiceNow, for example, kind of, I don't want to say they regressed, but they didn't mention, like last year, they started talking about small business models. This year, they didn't. They only talked about LLMs. And that's pretty much what I expect we're going to hear from most of them. Um, ServiceNow's model is different. I'm not going to get into it because of time. So I want to hear ServiceNow. I want to hear about AI from them, which is actually really unusual coming from me because I used to think Zia, their AI, was not very good at all. Um, but they've jumped totally into a new level. On the other conferences, I'm to be honest, I'm going to want to hear ecosystem stuff. I'm going to want to hear partnerships. I'm going to want to hear, those are the things I want to hear. I think at this point, we see a lot of maturity in a lot of specific areas, anything ranging from traditional CRM to even supply chain stuff. The back front office integration is becoming more and more prevalent and necessary. So I'm going to want to see some more about that at all these conferences because most of them are customer facing. What about you? I mean, other things we'll see. Whatever happens, happens.
For a lot of the same reasons, Zoho, but also because it's in Austin, there would be some good eating there.
Yes.
Uh, and and
Voodoo donuts.
and some good barbecue too.
Yes.
Um,
Well,
and I think it's always cool when we're able to do player stuff at events. And I know we're going to be doing it at Pega and at Zoho, and that gives us an opportunity
and
to
pros too. We're doing it
oh, and
pros.
pros too, right?
Mm.
So that gives us an opportunity to not just hear the keynotes, but actually, get some do what we do. We have regular conversations and be able to kind of hear from these folks in a manner that you don't traditionally get to hear from them. And so I really look forward to that. And
Always do.
of course, pros Michael Wu is. I know we're going to be talking to
Yeah,
him,
we
and that's
got him.
always it's like once again a tradition, you know. So I look forward to those moments. The keynotes. I like you said, hearing certain things. I definitely am really tuned into these partnerships because even at Adobe, Microsoft was a big announcement around their partnership, or as you like to call it, the GARP partnership. It's actually got deeper. Yeah, and we're always when it comes to Zoho, it's always interesting to see if they will start doing these kind of partnerships because they don't really do those
They have
partnerships.
none.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see it. I don't really expect to hear it, but
No.
if we did hear something like that, that would be really a big thing.
Well,
Um,
I think in terms of Zoho, and you can beat a drum there too, which I probably will. Which is if they're going to really go up market to the U.S. version of the enterprise, those partnerships become almost necessary.
yeah,
Whether you want them or not, they become necessary because
yeah.
yeah, and the enterprises expect them.
Well, that was one of the other things, that we're also looking to see what Creatio does
Yeah.
because they're kind of similar, but they have partnerships, but not at that level.
No, their partnerships are more. They have a couple of what do you call it? So the like Tata and kind of the
Like
consultancy type partnerships.
industry
Well,
kind of,
consultant. No, what they
yeah,
do
consulting.
at the level of they have amazing. Look, they have a great partnership set up tactically. So, like their partners build out their
Right.
industries for them. They go to market together. So they're sort of mini strategic, but they're not the big strategic requirements that enterprises kind of need to see and also see how to utilize and access. If you go into the enterprise, strategic partnerships at a large scale are become necessary. It's hard, but they're available. it's not just, does this consultancy have a practice, a big consultancy like, Tata or Accenture or whatever, have a practice of us. It's well beyond that.
Yeah. So I think it's going to be interesting seeing companies like the Zohos and the Creatios if they do start making some of those moves, because you're seeing the big guys doing it, and it's really, I think that's going to be the way to go if you want to get to a certain scale, and be able to participate in some of the things that these big companies are creating. I mean, these big platforms are creating, and your partnerships are going to be a way to become a platform. At least that's what ServiceNow seems to be doing. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that, and just seeing the folks again, just seeing, we call them friends. I mean, it's a lot of people that we know working at these vendors that aren't just people; they're actually
Right.
friends. So
Yeah, which is always fun. The friend part is honestly the best part.
yeah, because you don't get bears unless
No.
you're friends.
And I still have my bear hug button from Charlie Isaacs. Right.
Yeah, good old Charlie.
Yep.
All right. Well, we definitely went way over.
Yeah, it was so much fun.
Considering we didn't even know if we're going to do a show today. But yeah, this is good. And Ian came in with some fun facts, and the Erasmus one came in for a while, and Bob Fagel, I was going to say blessed us with his presence, but I don't know, that might be blasphemous if I said that. And Shashi. So it was great to have these folks come and join us. And maybe, I don't know, next week is probably going to be a tough one.
Yeah.
I think I'll still be out at
I'll be
Connection.
home. I think when am I 20? I'm flying Wednesday, so I will be home. 2020,
Yeah.
20 Monday. Yeah, so I'll be home Wednesday evening, late.
Yeah, I might not. I don't know when my flight is on Thursday. If it's another
Now,
flight like I got, that I could do it, because Chicago's even closer than Denver is.
yeah, if it works out, it works out. Otherwise, we'll see in a couple of weeks with Alan Treffler.
Yes, Alan Treffler, not Alan Berkson. This was Alan Berkson week here on the PPN.
Yes, it was. He had 2 shows. And Shashi, thank you. And listen, if I don't physically see you before then, have an amazing trip with your son around the world. Holy God, that is so amazing.
Absolutely.
I just congrats, man, that you get to do that. That's got to be wonderful. And of course, we will expect to hear all about it.
Yeah, we want to report, and not one of those Chat GPT generated reports.
No. Take pictures and videos.
All righty. So I'm Brent Leary.
I'm Paul Greenberg.
We are the CRM Players, and of course, hey, Minnie. Bye, Minnie.
See ya.